Warriors, Turnaround Tuesday. How's everyone doing today? Let's have a great day. Hi, Craig, Patrick, the rest of my Trading Warrior brothers and sisters. Okay, these are my observations going into today. We have a throw over here in Euro USD. Okay, the 4-hour divergence is trying to hold. The 1-hour divergence will hold. Getting back over this, say, 118.80 level would take us back within the channel. What's interesting to me is the RSI structure is more negative in Dixie. Here's your 1 hour, and the 4 hour is glaring. That could be because of maybe the pound hasn't been as weak. But I would take a stab here at the short side of Dixie. The other reason is, when's the last time you've seen Euro down 50 pips and US dollar Swiss only up 2 or 3? So to me, that's a little bit of a market message. Maybe US dollar Swiss has another high left in it. This was confirmed, but it's starting to lose momentum compared to the strength in the dollar. Everyone give me a Y if you get it, okay? Normally, you would be seeing the Swiss up about, 40 on a day like this, right? So that's why we try and teach everyone here, and we talk about looking at the market holistically. And when you know the relationships, sometimes they give you market tells, kind of like at the poker table. They're showing their hand a little bit here. Doesn't mean that immediately you're going to get the response, but it tells you that you should be at least aware of a potential response. Can I get an amen on that? Sometimes, and if you do want to probe things, you probe them real small. And I mean small enough just so you're paying attention. Everyone with me on that too. Sometimes you have to have a piece on in the market. You're not all in, all out, just so you pay attention to it. And usually when I do that, I do it because I know my tendency is to be early and to recognize things before the market does. Okay, so also I want to talk about just quickly, and if you take a Dixie short, maybe you risk 40, 50 pips, see if the divergence holds. But initially, I think you could be looking for 270, about 30 pips. And then I think down towards 220, and I can't rule out 131, something I teach. The 2-week off number in the dollar is way down here at 91.53, so that's where I would be covering shorts if we broke 150 pips here. All right, and the last thing I want to cover with all this Euro weakness, okay, and I know it's contrarian, you don't hear anyone talking about the long side of Euro pound, but it still hasn't negated what it did a few weeks ago when it turned at 86.80. Okay, so with all this Euro weakness, they're certainly not taking much out of it. Some people showed a rising wedge it broke out of. The wedge target is around here, 87.60. So if it does get down here, I have some exposure. I want to be long this market. Okay, I'm wrong under this low, 86.80. Maybe you wait for the BOE. I'm not sure when it is. I think it may be tomorrow. Maybe that sets up a little deeper pullback, but it's still my contention, and I don't hear anyone talking about it, especially if we start making new highs over these recent highs. Here's your week. Your off number, you need a close above 87.96, which is not that far from where it is right now. It's at 91, for it not to give a 2-week weekly reversal signal. Okay, so on the weekly, I still think we're going to attack these highs. Tons of stops here over this 89.70 level, 90 level. You just do the arithmetic, call it about 300, and that could take you up towards 93 or so to complete a weekly 3 drive. And here's really the telescope. Up there, I'm going to be very bearish because this could actually be a failing rally up here. Here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, even up here at 94. So that's my take on what's going on here today. Preferred short, Dixie has the weakest RSI structure even compared to Euro, but Euro way overdue. And the way I'm playing that is, see, a pound's now weaker than Euro. No, that's a pound. That's the Aussie. Congratulations to Aussie shorts. But Euro definitely due for some type of turn here. Not ideal because these RSI readings are pretty deep, but I think if we do get a turn, there is potential for about 120.20 on Euro USD, and I think the pound is on the verge and has not made a new low yet. The pound actually has a better RSI structure. So if you're short the pound and we take out this candle low, you have 4-hour non-confirmation, and I bet you're even going to have a 1. Yeah, pretty close, and it's, you know, not as oversold as the Euro is. We have a great guest today, and he has a lot of experience in the oil market. He was an energy trader, part of the youth group in Slovenia for the World Petroleum Council. Now is a co-founder of Trader Hub IO. It's a crypto platform to trade. So looking forward to talking to Tillin at the top of the hour. And I'm going to turn it over to Blake and see if he thinks this Kudlow King Dollar rally could be running out of some steam here, or if I'm all wet.
Hey, Dale. Good morning.
Hey, buddy.
Well, you know, hope everybody's having a great day. You know, waking up this morning, I was surprised to see the dollar as strong as it is. Not from a, I mean, I guess looking at the dollar, you expect it to be strong. It's not a, it's a situation where, and I was telling the guys in our office this morning, the dollar is in one of those situations where it is too strong to be shorted, but too overbought to be bought, and it makes it for a very challenging environment. You know, I'm looking for some sort of dollar pullback, but it's just not coming. So the issue is well, the question is, what do you do now? I mean, do you buy the dollar here as the dollar continues to extend, you know, or do you wait? And I always err on the side of safety, and I'd rather just, you know, wait for the dollar to give me an opportunity to buy it at a cheaper price. But we may not necessarily get that opportunity, and that's the risk at this moment in time.
Maybe wait for it to do something right, Blake, you know, some kind of reversal candle or something. But remember yesterday I talked about the 3 drive that we had, but I didn't like it because the RSI reading was under 30. So it's more of the same here. So even though we're making
and I mean, you know, if you're going to fade the dollar, you know, especially if you're talking about the Euro or the Aussie or the Kiwi or maybe even the pound, you got to wait for some sort of reversal candle, which we're not getting, at least not at this moment in time. And this, you know, you're illustrating a throw over with the euro dollar, and I'm looking at this, you know, down channel. You know, you can call it a throw over if you want. You can say it's pretty much there. You know, and you can take a shot at it if you want to be long the euro. But what I'd probably rather do at this stage is you wait for, if you're looking for a reversal, you wait for a break back above 119.40, and then you know that the move from here to, you know, wherever is more of a sure thing. Or you wait for a bounce back, and then you look to sell, you know, a rally back into and you know, back into the channel, which gives you a couple opportunities. The question is, are we going to even get there? And you know, because we're at a point that that the dollar could actually get kind of squirrely to the downside. I mean, we could really see, you know, euro longs capitulate. Because I don't think we've really seen that yet, right? I think
how the COT look, Blake? They still haven't shaken out enough of the enthusiasm in euro yet.
Yeah, let's.
Or you look at
let's pull up
DSI.
Adam's charts really quick, just so you can get a good
And
idea.
also, you know, I want to congratulate Joe live on Bloomberg. His trade selection of the pound with all the stellar strength, the pound is holding up the best. So very nice trade selection by Joe live on Bloomberg Friday.
Yes, he did a great job. He did a great job. But you can see here, you know, speculative interest in the euro dollar is still quite high, near record highs. I mean, we haven't seen much of an adjustment. You know, now keep in mind this was last Tuesday, so let's see, last Tuesday would have been right about here.
Yeah,
I would say a week ago. So right here, you know, has there been, you know, has this, you know, gone lower in speculative interest since then? I would imagine so. I mean,
still way up there. That's a surprise to me that it's still way up there.
Yeah. I mean, it's still pretty high up there. So, you know, could the euro longs continue to capitulate? I think it's, you know, entirely possible. That's why I'm having a hard time with the euro dollar trying to pick it up here. You know, I did buy or short a little US dollar Swedish krona. That's just because the Riksbank the minutes came out overnight, and you know, some of the Riksbank members were a little bit more hawkish, and you can see that the US dollar Swedish krona is actually slightly lower, where the euro dollar is lower too. So I mean, if the euro dollar does get a bounce, the US dollar Swedish krona will probably come back under pressure. I'm looking for, you know, a move back below the support. So we got some divergence there, but I you know, as far as the euro dollar, I'm not willing at this point in time to step in front of the euro and be a buyer down here, you know, because the risk is we still continue lower at this point. And like I said, we haven't seen any type of real capitulation out of the euro longs, and we could, you know, we're grinding to that area that really could start, you know, translating into some bigger selling. I mean, all we're doing is we're just consolidating and grinding lower below the 200-day moving average, and you know, makes it a little tough. It makes it a little tough to take advantage of current movements. One of the other things that we have going on later today at 2 o'clock is we're going to hear from Donald Trump regarding the Iranian deal, and I got asked this morning by Yaz in our chat room, you know, how's that going to affect the dollar? And we were debating that actually over our inter-office call in Greenwich, and we don't know. I mean, we don't know if it's factored in. We don't know if it's hard to tell. You know, the only observation we can make right now is that the dollar is strong, but you know, there might be some volatility that comes in at 2 o'clock, you know, depending on if we pull out of the Iranian deal or not. And, you know, we're not sure at this moment in time if it's going to have a material effect on the currency market. It seems like the stock market is feeling the effects a little bit. And maybe that's one of the things that's keeping the yen relatively bid. But you know, regarding the yen, we're still really more or less focused on what's happening in the bond market. I mean, yields continue to stay strong, so bonds are still weak. But I think if bonds rally, that's where you have to start looking at, you know, the dollar yen, and maybe that'll bleed over to, you know, weakness in yields would bleed over to the dollar yen, which might bleed over into the rest of the dollar pairs. So we're hoping that we might see some volatility at 2 o'clock Eastern, after we hear from you know, Donald Trump regarding the Iranian deal, but that's not set in stone either. That it's going to create a lot of volatility in the currency market. But that our hope is that that's where some volatility is going to spawn from. But if you look at like the cable, and Joe pointed out the pound on Friday when he was on Bloomberg, and you look at the cable, it is outperforming, but we're still near our lows too. I mean, we're hovering around the 127% extension. I don't know if I've got the cojones to be long the cable at this point, but what I would like to do is sell some sort of rally to 137. Is what I'm hoping is going to happen as we see a little bit of dollar weakness that provokes a little squeeze in these pairs, and then we can sell into some of that, some of the strength, or buy some of the dollar weakness if possible. But the Aussie, we just hit 127% extension of the last range. We hit a new trend low, and the Aussie, I mean, look at how weak it is. Extremely weak. We're not getting any type of rally to sell into, which is, it's a bummer, because again, when you're looking for something to do from a currency standpoint, you're looking for trades to make. It's hard to chase the Aussie down here on the short side. As much as I want to be bearish, I want to be bearish up here versus being bearish down here. The Kiwi as well. I mean, the Kiwi broke in a new trend lows, and remember, we have the RBNZ tomorrow. So the RBNZ rate decision with our new RBNZ head, Adrian Orr, is happening tomorrow. So I kind of look at the Kiwi as being a little bit of, out of play until tomorrow afternoon. But the comments that Adrian Orr has made in the past in the media has been basically, our economy is running well. I don't know what to really do to tweak, monetary policy to make it run better, basically. So, I mean, he's already made some very, as little as he's been in the limelight, he's made some pretty hawkish comments. So, perhaps he makes some continued hawkish comments when he does his press conference tomorrow, which, does that give me reason to be buying the Kiwi at this moment? No, but it's something that I'm keeping an eye on, just in case the New Zealand dollar, starts to show some sort of reversal between today and tomorrow. The dollar Canadian, we were in this trading range for a week, or actually 2 weeks. We broke above 129. And we're heading higher. I actually want to be short the dollar Canadian, or let me take that back. I actually want to be long the Canadian currency, but I'm like I mentioned yesterday, I'm still waiting on word from the NAFTA agreement and NAFTA agreements. But in my guesstimate, it looks like the dollar Canadian is heading back here to 130, 131. Before I'm going to have an opportunity to be on the short side of the dollar Canadian. So I want it to continue to drift higher. And with the dollar as strong as it is, I think the risk is that we do continue to press higher too. And if you look at the U.S. dollar Mexican peso, the U.S. dollar Mexican peso is reaching higher and continuing to scream higher as well. And this, even though we caught the very bottom of this down here at 1820. I mean, the rally that we've seen in this has been pretty amazing, and this is getting close to an AB equals CD type of move, which could take the U.S. dollar Mexican peso back to 1990, right here, 1980 and change, before turning lower again. I mean, we're making some pretty good gains. I don't know if I'd want to stand in front of that one just yet either. The U.S. dollar Norwegian krona is up against its 618 once again. This was a big rejection, but with the dollar strength that we're seeing against other European currencies. You know, we might retest that as well. And like I said, I'm short a little bit of US dollar Swedish krona because it is underperforming, and the minutes from the Riksbank meeting were released today, and you know, some of the Riksbank members are looking at the Swedish krona and wondering why it's so weak at this point, which means that they're a little bit more hawkish, which that's what's keeping this one at bay. And if the dollar does, you know, pull back a little bit, the US dollar Swedish krona, I think, is at risk of a move lower. But looking at the dollar index, let's take a look at the dollar index. It continues higher. The daily chart continues to be overbought. RSI is overbought. You did make a great observation this morning, Dale, regarding the US dollar Swiss franc. It's stalling here, and that might have more to do with the comments that might come from President Trump a little bit later if we pull out of the, you know, Iranian deal. You know, perhaps the Swiss franc is bought a little bit more versus other currencies.
Thank you, Blake. A friend of mine who's had his own broker dealer for a long time called me yesterday and asked me what I thought about Trump announcing today, when he had, I think, till the 12th or so, that, you know, possibly knowing how he operates, that initially says he's pulling out, but the deadline's still 4 days to try and get some concessions. Just a negotiating ploy that could change because the expiration is still when he has to ratify it again. I think it's still 4 days away.
Yeah, I mean, that's entirely possible too, because he could, you know.
You never know.
No, you don't know with him, and but I think that's maybe the hesitation that you're seeing in the dollar Swiss right now, because you know, traders are wondering, well, what if he just, you know, pulls out, then you know, maybe equities come under pressure and the US dollars, or excuse me, the Swiss franc is bought as a result.
Yeah.
And I don't know, and maybe that's one of the reasons why the dollar yen has not performed too well. And that's a good point. I mean, that's, you know, that is the Trump style negotiation tactics is, you know, threaten, but really, you know,
part of the deal, one of his favorite tools was just to get up and walk away. And, you know, when people are negotiating and they really want the deal, but they're pretending they don't, and someone else walks away, then they really want the deal. You know, you always want what you can't have anymore.
Right.
You know, anyway,
right,
human nature.
Of course. And speaking of, you know, what if, you know, the what if scenarios, one thing that we've got to pay pretty close attention to is the dollar yen, because the dollar yen is not, it's like the dollar Swiss, it's not responding with dollar strength, which has obviously led the euro yen down to, you know, near 129, which really bums me out, because I had a pattern in play last week and I got wiggled out of it when we were here at 130.40, but we were reaching towards 129, which I thought we were going to get to anyway.
That was a great trade. That was a great trade. You guys were on it before it broke, or right after it broke that rising wedge, Blake. I wouldn't feel bad about a great trade.
Yeah, thanks. I, you know, could have made a little bit more out of it, and could have gotten a little bit more, but you know, the dollar yen, or excuse me, the euro yen actually looks quite dangerous. I mean, you know, we bottomed here, right here, you know, at the French elections, a week before the French elections, and great rally, and you know, we're looking to give back a lot of these gains. I mean, the euro yen looks like it's probably heading back to the low 120s in all actuality. But you take the dollar yen, and this is one of those that I think we got to pay pretty close attention to, which I've been, you know, targeting to the short side. If we break this 108.50, 108.60 level, that should really expose some downside in the dollar yen. You can see we're just skating up this trend line right now. But yeah, if that trend line breaks, you know, we start trading below 109, or excuse me, 108.80, and levels like that, you know, the dollar yen could really start picking up to the downside. And you know, that again, I'm actually watching more at this stage I'm watching more of the bond market and just paying real close attention to the bond market, because if the 10-year, which is right here, if we start to see that squeeze higher in the bond market, that's going to, you know, really be telling me that the dollar yen needs to be shorted, or, you know, the yen could be bought, whether you're, you know, looking at the euro yen or, you know, Aussie yen or pound yen or whatever, you know, yen pairs that you're focused on. You know, if the bond market really starts to squeeze higher, I think that's the cue. That's your cue for all these other yen pairs, and I think we're going to eventually break down in the dollar yen. But I'm just, you know, I've got a little bit of exposure short, very small, and I'm looking to add, but I keep a little bit of exposure. I call it, as most of you guys know, I kind of put on a tracker position. This way it stays on my screen. I'm not going to lose a lot of money. I'm not going to make a lot of money, but it makes me focus on that particular pair, because I now have it on my screen and I'm watching the P&L move back and forth, which you know, keeps it on the radar. And so I do a lot of tracker positions like that, if I'm keeping really close track of something and I think it's going to happen. Like, so the dollar yen is an example of, I think it's eventually going to break down. So I have a short near current levels, and it's really small, but you know, if we start breaking down through 108.80, 108.60, that's when I'm going to start getting, you know, aggressive. But anyway, it's quiet. I think we're going to see some volatility this afternoon at 2 o'clock Eastern. I'm hoping anyway. But I'll say this about the dollar, and I got to say a couple things before I move on. The dollar is a little too overbought to be bought, but it's too strong to be shorted. So, you know, it's a tricky. Today's a really tricky day to be playing the dollar, and maybe Steve has some opportunities popping up with some of the cross rates. But before I go, I wanted to mention that this free webinar that you guys are listening to, the FACE webinar and Dale's interviews, are brought to you by Forest Park FX. Let me see if I can pull up their site really quick. Remember, if you guys are trading in the FX market and you're not happy with your broker, make sure you reach out to Forest Park FX. They are really in the same business we are, as far as making sure that you guys as traders are successful. They're really great to work with. If you're on our website and you want to just contact them via email, you can go to where it says reimbursement program. And reimbursement program, there's an email down here at the bottom, which brokers at ForexAnalytix.com. If you click on that, you can contact the guys at Forest Park FX. They're really wonderful to work with, and they will make sure that you are, you know, finding a broker that's fits what you're trying to do in the markets, whether you're scalping, whether you're taking positions, whether you're looking for rebates, whether you're looking for tighter spreads. But those are the guys. Trent is our point man at Forest Park, so make sure you reach out to him. He is in our chat room as well, and he may not be in there right now, but he comes in throughout the course of the day now. So he's a constant presence in our chat room for our trading community. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Steve. Steve.
Good morning. Good morning, Blake.
Good morning. How are you?
There is also a Skype a Skype contact they can use on our reimbursement page, you know, for direct contact with Trent or Justin.
Great.
Besides emailing, I mean.
Great. Okay. Perfect. All right.
Well, how are you?
I'm good. I'm just, you know, kind of watching paint dry, waiting for something to happen. And
no, that's very true. Did you manage to clock some extra sleep tonight?
I got like an extra 30 minutes today, which is good. It's been so hot here. We went from the most beautiful weather last week to scorching hot, literally.
Hell.
Yeah, in just a few days, and I think that's what took a toll on my energy level the last couple of days with family in town, and it was 106 degrees here, which is, you know,
Plus the fact that we're not 25 years old anymore. Eh?
Yeah, it's like 10
Come on, come on. It's time for you to become Blake of Arabia.
Oh my gosh, it was so hot, but it's been draining my energy, and so yeah, yes, I managed to get a little bit more sleep. Thank you very much. But yeah, good luck today. Maybe there's some opportunities with some of the cross rates because the dollar is, like I said, the dollar is a little challenging at this moment.
Yeah, we have some tickers that are at some interesting levels, but as you said, having to do with major crosses, obviously buying the dollar, right here, right now, doesn't make much sense, right? So we need to be patient.
Right, you have to, wait for a pullback, and trying to short it is difficult. You got to be very selective, and I think you have to, you can't just blindly start shorting the dollar against some of these majors. You gotta be selective which ones you're going to do if you're going to do it. So
absolutely,
you could do the Dixie.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a lower beta way to go too for, a very, kind of ice, want to hear the ice crack contrarian trade. You lower your beta. A 50-point risk in the Dixie is like having a 100-point stop in the euro. 20-point stop.
By the way, I need to remind everybody here, because that's quite important, right? That the Dixie is, in a sense, it's an old-fashioned index, dollar index, right? I mean, just to give you an idea, the Dixie was created before we got the euro, so it had a basket of currencies that then consolidating in the euro. So now it's like 57 and change % euro. It's more than it's 11-12% the cable. It's something equivalent to having to do with the yen, against the yen. And believe it or not, it doesn't have, for example, any Aussie, any Kiwi. It has Canadian and SEK. And seeing how often and how much the Swedish krona is correlated with the euro, thinking about it, I mean, just SEK, cable, and euro, which very often move along with each other, comprise like more than 3/4 of the DXY, right? So you need to keep that in mind. I mean, it's a fine index to monitor. Hey, Grega.
Hey, you guys. Hey, Grega, I just wanted to say hello before I check out, and guys, make sure you stick around because Grega is going to give you a good, hopefully a great update on some of these Elliott wave. I'm interested to hear, and I'm sure everybody is too. If you're reading any completions of some of these Elliott wave legs. So it's going to be interesting to hear what you have to say. So good morning.
Hey, good morning. So yes, it's been some time since I was here, so definitely I have some charts that looks pretty interesting.
I'm going to pass you the screen, mate, because I'm here every day, but you're not, so I'm going to pass you the screen immediately. Grega, by the way, Blake doesn't provide good updates. He provides excellent updates.
True, very true.
Looking forward to seeing what you're thinking, Grega.
Good luck today, Blake.
Thanks.
Good luck,
you guys. Good luck, and I'm gonna mute myself. Have a great trading day, everybody, and Greg, I look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Sure. Thank you. Enjoy, Blake. So you speak that?
Yeah.
We can see your screen, Grega. Yeah, we can see the USD yen.
Yes. So actually, I just heard what you've been talking about. That dollar is very strong, but is at some very important key levels. So probably everyone are waiting or are prepared to see a pullback, right? So actually, I must admit the dollar current bullish move really surprised me, but it's still this euro bullish trend, incompletion of a bullish trend still should not be ignored yet, because there's still a chance that this is wave 4. However, I have two wave counts, right? So one is that this is a wave 4, and one is that we have wave 5 in place. But the idea is that when I'm trading, I want to trade within the direction of a current sentiment, and this is clearly to the downside currently on euro dollar. So even if this is wave 4, I want to look at the structure, at the bearish structure, that will also suggest that we go even lower. Same thing as on this bullish wave count, where I also see interpretation where we can see a drop towards 38.2%. So I have two counts, bullish and bearish, and both suggest that we can see lower levels. So as a trader, this is the most important to me. I want to see a pullback before we go even lower. So here's the first wave count. Let's assume that we are already topping here from February, and we are in the middle of a very strong bearish 5-wave decline, right? So in that case, you would be interested to look for shorts after a pullback in a wave 4 to catch down wave 5 or 3, okay? This is a bearish count. And I have here also bullish count, which one suggests that we are seeing only an extended wave C. But even this wave C, for a valid completed corrective pullback on a daily chart, you still need 5 subwaves within this wave C. So even this structure, which is bullish on a daily chart still, suggests that we will see more downside after a pullback. So as I said, I want to trade within the direction of a current sentiment, and clearly we cannot ignore that this is very significant decline, okay? So I will not say that euro dollar is still in uptrend. I will not say that euro dollar is already going back to parity. I will just say that current sentiment is definitely down, and based on all the wave counts that I'm tracking, I'm more interested in shorts rather than longs. But I would probably love to see a pullback. So if I want to see a pullback, I will probably look for levels around 1.2, because this is some kind of a round figure psychological level. It also this channel resistance line. Okay, so this is a parallel channel at the top, and we have this trend line. Actually, at the lows, it was broken. Normally, this leads to more weakness. So I would really not be surprised if we go much, much lower, but I would love to see a pullback, as I said, back into wave 4. Okay, so even if I have bullish wave count still possible on a daily chart here, there is room for 38.2%, maybe even towards this January 2017 trend line, which means there is room to catch maybe 200, 300 pips to the downside, but after a pullback. Okay, so make this sense? Steve, catching up?
Absolutely. So either case, we are in a third wave. Now it remains to be seen if it's going to be the third wave of a C, which is going to be, which already has brought us near a completion of a larger correction, or if it's a third wave of a third, which means that there is a lot more downside coming. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So actually,
I have a little question for you. Why do you still marginally favor the interpretation that the bullish count might be the one that's still correct?
Because I don't have enough of price data to confirm one of the cases. So I'm just tracking both interpretations. I say that there are 50-50 chances, and I don't want to go ahead of my I don't know, my bias. I want to focus on what is actually happening. Okay, and actually this is the power of Elliott wave. Different structures show you the same direction, and then exactly you know where you want to trade. I receive emails, a lot of emails from my clients. If the euro dollar is topping out, are we going down to parity? Look, maybe it's topping out, maybe it's not. I don't care. I'm a trader, and I'm providing charts so that can be useful for potential trades, let's say for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And this is probably, as a daily trader, the most important. I'm not investor, I'm trader.
Absolutely. So I'm guessing
but of course, I can also, so sorry to interview. I can also provide very good, accurate, longer term analysis, but only if the wave structure is also very nice and clear. And at the moment on euro dollar is not. It would be a different story if we would already have a 5-wave fall on euro dollar from these February highs. But unfortunately, at this stage, we don't have. Okay, so I'm tracking 2 wave counts, but I love to trade within the direction of a current sentiment. So if we want to trade the bearish wave count, maybe you would more be focused on this chart on the right, count 2, which has a bearish.
So Greg, I'm guessing that you also have a second count for the DXY now that shows that perhaps the 8850 area was the low, right?
Yes, I have actually the same. This is the old count. Okay, here it is. It's basically very similar. It's reversed. You can see waves 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are breaking higher into wave 4. There is a chance that here was a low in place, but only if we see a very strong push above 95.13. Okay, so then I would probably say that yes, this is going to be a bullish case. But again, for the short term, we have the same view, more upside after a pullback. This is also bullish interpretation. If this is wave 1, 2, and not wave A or wave B, but maybe bullish impulse in progress, right? So based on both counts, I love the setup after a pullback into this wave 4. Blue wave 4 is what I would be watching. So now when we see a lot of dollar at potential short-term resistance, so we expect a pullback, then maybe to play on the long side euro dollar from here, it's a little bit dangerous, right? So instead of looking for longs on euro dollar, look for the structure on pairs where dollar is already showing weaker price action, right? So maybe try to look at the dollar yen. Now dollar yen here, as you can see, it's not anywhere near the highs, right? So we already seen a 5-wave drop. Okay, so if we expect a bounce on euro dollar, at least into wave 4, I will not trade on the long side euro to catch wave 4 because I don't want to be trapped in a consolidation of a wave 4. I want to look for the setups on the pairs which has a clearer bearish impulse interpretation against the buck, and this is dollar yen. We have seen a very nice decline in 5 waves here, right? So I want to be short this one instead of long euro dollar because euro dollar is very weak. Makes this sense?
Grega, if I may add something, because USD yen was one of the pairs I wanted to show. First of all, last week USD yen posted an evening star formation on the daily chart, so that was the first signal that we've probably found at least a short-term top. Second of all, it's obvious that after a move lower, as you very well said, we've spent the last 2 days, today is the third day so far, that we are consolidating, which tells me that this consolidation should break for at least one more leg to the downside. Third of all, you can even see on your left chart there on the 4-hour that somebody can even read that as a head and shoulders formation, right? It's yes. A little bit inclined, but still it's a head and shoulders formation, right?
Yes, exactly. So here, and now we are testing neckline. And as you said, this is a consolidation. And what I really love about this structure is that yesterday we moved to a new swing high. We turned down from these very important fib resistance levels on the short-term basis, and actually this smaller time frame count, I believe it shows a 5-wave fall. So I would not be surprised if dollar yen is going lower. So euro dollar probably oversold. We will get a rally. So in such case, if we get a rally on euro dollar, dollar yen can be very quickly at new lows. So invalidation level in such case for dollar yen is at 110. As you said, we also posted this evening star formation here last week. So definitely, at least for the short term, I think we may see a pullback. Okay, I would be looking for pullback minimum towards 108.50, but there's also a chance that we will go to this consolidation here from 107.70 down to 106.80 if we get a nice bounce there on euro dollar and other pairs into a corrective movement.
Your intuition tells you that the move lower, because I was saying that yesterday and last week as well that I expect a pullback towards 108, 108.50, and you know, depends on what happens in that move lower. I mean, what kind of a structure it has. I'm going to decide if actually USD yen should be bought, or perhaps it's heading to new lows? Because I really am unsure about where the next move after this correction is going to be. So do you think that this move lower is going to be a corrective one, and we're going to see a higher high from the 110, or your intuition tells you that we're going lower?
I think that we could see more weakness, or at least longer term consolidation here if we get towards 108, let's say. And the reason is probably on stock markets. And I think that stocks could see move to the downside. And if this happens, then Japanese yen could really get strong, which is already strong now when stocks were quite significantly higher since Friday, right? So. So I think that if stocks will continue lower, I can show my charts here. I have here the S&P 500. What I'm tracking on the S&P 500 is actually a triangle. But you really have to understand when you're tracking a triangle to see a difference between a triangle in a wave B or a triangle in a wave 4. Now, someone with old school technique.
Sorry to interrupt you. That's exactly my dilemma here as well. I mean, I see your interpretation, an A, then B being the triangle. So there's one leg missing to the downside C, which, as I was saying yesterday, it's always a chance. But, I was thinking the more time passes, so the more the index corrects in time instead of price, there is a high chance that the whole structure is a wave 4. So we might push higher directly from here. Why do you favor the ABC scenario instead of the whole thing being a wave 4?
Why? Because this first leg, if you have a triangle, okay, a normal triangle, A, B, C, D, E in wave 4, then normally wave A is also very corrective in nature. But this was very impulsive to the downside.
Okay, got it.
So I'm seeing this as a first impulse, okay, then sideways. But just this sideways move was just more complex. And
no, that's a good explanation. I totally get it.
Yeah, so that's the only reason. If this would be a clear free wave drop, then I would say that yes, this is a triangle. But this is still only one of two interpretations. Directly bullish triangle is also valid. But saying that we go here from here, higher from here, is just too soon because we don't have a breakout. The breakout would be needed probably even above this wave. This
2720. Yeah, 2720.
But still, even this would be quite early because triangles can be very, very, very tricky. Even in such case, okay, I have this 4-hour chart. Even then, this can still be only wave C of a bearish triangle interpretation. Even if we go to 740. So I know I don't want to go into this too deep because I don't want to confuse anyone. But the idea is that calling bearish triangle, bullish triangle, it's just too soon because we are in the middle of a range. So
yeah, we need to remain patient.
Are on the table. Yes, definitely. So
what about, we have a friend here asking you, and of course this bodes well with your your view on the dollar. They're asking about gold, and in general, I should add here that gold, silver, copper, all of them have already spent a long period of time in equivalent consolidation patterns. So everybody is looking closely and waiting to see, in which direction will they end up breaking. I know that you said that you're torn. I mean, you have two interpretations about the dollar, and that's definitely going to play a role. But do you think you have some kind of a favorite side for the consolidations to break, lower, higher in the metals?
What I notice on gold in particular is that this decline that we have seen in the last few days compared to euro dollar is much weaker, and especially compared to Aussie dollar, right? So
very true.
Let me do an overlay chart here. How much time do we have?
We do have 10 minutes.
Okay. So we have here Aussie dollar. I should do it in the daily. Come on. Okay, so here's the overlay chart. In blue, you see gold. In gray, you see Aussie dollar, right? Markets are in positive correlation for sure. But notice the big gap between gold and Aussie, right?
Yeah, it's huge.
So what I think it could happen is that when Aussie dollar will see a pullback, that gold can still reach a new high and then turn to the downside when Aussie maybe moves into wave 2. So with that being said, to go to the charting, what I see here is still consolidation. It's a flat correction that I'm tracking, ABC for wave A. Then you see a complex rally up for wave B that moved very close to this old swing high. So this is very important for flat corrections. And also the most important is that you see a 5-wave fall for wave C back towards this wave A levels. So all characteristics suggest that this can be a flat correction. So it can be just a big pause within this complex ongoing upward movement that is underway since 2017. So still, I think that gold could recover, could easily reach a new high when Aussie dollar moves higher into a corrective setback. Makes sense?
Okay, so I'm guessing you're expecting silver will do the same, because silver is also in a long-term triangular consolidation, and this consolidation has tightened to less than $1.50 now. So at some point, obviously, it has to break out.
Yes, but only a break higher here on gold will be temporary. This is key, because we are tracking a very long and complex corrective rally. So once we reach levels above these 2016 highs, 2018 highs, I think that we should be on an alert for a potential bearish turn, because on a weekly we are tracking this correction that is underway actually since 2015. So when gold reaches a new high, Aussie dollar makes a pullback for wave 2, and then maybe both moves in line together to the downside. I would be expecting this to happening already now, but since gold is much stronger than Aussie, which is very weak, as you can see on the right chart here, that's why I think that this is possible scenario. But as you said, on silver, let's take a look on that one. Silver, we are also tracking a very complex correction from 2015 lows, same thing as on gold, but here we are looking at a triangle. There I'm looking for a deeper WXY correction, right? So actually here, for the short term, or for the next for the next month or so, we may see a turn to the upside for wave C of E to complete this consolidation. At the same time, when gold can make also into wave C to a new high, as I said, above 2016, above 2018 highs, and then turns to the downside in line with silver.
By the way, we have a question, and I was showing it some time ago. I thought the moves higher were corrective, and they're currently testing, especially the Kiwi yen. I'm going to be talking now about the Aussie yen and the Kiwi yen. Kiwi yen especially is about to test a very major horizontal level. If it breaks below that, I think it's a very bearish development. If I remember right, the level is 76. What do you think about them? Because we have a friend asking them.
What I see on Aussie yen is probably that we are maybe forming here a leading diagonal. So for the short term, I would stay bearish here. I think I also covered this one in my webinar when I was here last time. So actually I said that we were looking for a very deep and complex corrective recovery, and now this recovery clearly appears completed. So I would be watching for a break to a new swing low. So maybe watch out for a pullbacks here. We have also very similar, very structure for Euro yen, Pound yen. Also, you said New Zealand yen, right?
Yeah,
Here,
New Zealand yen, if you see, is approaching major horizontal support.
actually, here, what I see is that potential flat correction also here can be finished. I should update this wavefront here. We'll let this now. So actually, this completed flat correction indicates that we should move beneath or towards 75 levels in the near term. Okay, but for me, from trading perspective, I would just need to see a pullback, right? So definitely,
Yeah, of course.
Here on the short side, I think it's a little bit too late. I was short euro yen with a PIP last week. I think Blake was also with a similar very setup. So actually, what we see now is that market here on the euro yen made a 5 waves of decline. Okay, we have waves 1.
I'm still short half of my initial position. I shorted it almost at the highs. I got a very nice entry, but I did the mistake when it was stalling at the 131.50 support. It was pre-NFPs and pre-Fed, so I took half of my short off at 131.50. So the rest of the move towards 129, because 129 is my second target. I'm only half of a position in, but okay, whatever.
Yes, okay. I also mentioned to and closed PIP on Friday, and it would be definitely, it would play much better if we would just leave it. But still, booking profits, that's probably the most important what you can do when trading. So catching every leg, it's definitely not possible. So rather than asking why I closed, we should just be on an alert for a new trade when a pullback occurs. And definitely on this euro yen is one of my favorite pairs, and we'll watch pullbacks. Once we see this ABC recovery, let's say back towards 130.60, maybe even 132, I'll be looking for potential new short here. But sometimes those euro yen crosses from the past, as I remember, when they really start falling, it can be very, very hard to join, because moves can be so strong, so accelerated.
Brutal, no pullbacks. That's very true.
You will have hard times to get in. So with the solid risk reward.
Speaking about yen pairs, at least according to the way I have my technical analysis on my chart, pound yen is currently testing also a very important confluence of supports. There is an ascending trend line. There is also a horizontal level of support at current levels. It looks very bad. I mean, it looks to me like it's about to open the door for a real collapse from this point on. I don't know if you're on the same page.
Pound yen?
Yes, pound yen.
Yes, actually here I'm also looking for more weakness. Now, ideally, we would see a decline towards 161.8 if we are in a wave 3, but wave C has more limited downside around 142. But in both cases, watch out for this 5-wave fall to develop, and I would be personally watching this wave 4 pullback once it gets underway. So invalidation level here is around, let's say, 151, around there. So once wave 4 starts building a rally, I will be looking for potential shorts on this structure.
I know it's one of the most boring of the majors, but I think we have time for one more pair before Dale has to start his interview. I think we should have a look at USD CAD, if that's okay with you. Today, sure. it finally made a move. I was saying since last week, that I'm expecting to see one more leg to the upside, at least towards 130. We got that happening today. Because that consolidation, I was actually monitoring this consolidation as a diamond formation, which, as you know, is a continuation formation. So what happens from here, though? What do you think?
I think that there are two scenarios possible at this stage. We broke higher from a triangle consolidation in wave 4. So this can be final stages of wave 5 of 1. Right, or we are going to see an irregular correction known as a flat correction for wave 2. So in both cases, I think that there is a chance that we will see a pullback.
A pullback from here. Yeah.
Back into this area. Yes. 1.28. That would be nice. So I'm waiting on a pullback and would love to build longs here.
But in any case, that's what I want to say. I understand that you would want to buy the potential pullback, right?
Yes, absolutely. Because previously we had an ABC pullback and.
Grega, what about if we go to the weekly chart so we can finish? Isn't this on the weekly? Do you think that on the weekly, this move is done? I mean, we had that major appreciation of the USD CAD. Do you think the corrective move lower has already been completed? Because to me, it still looks like there is one more move to the downside in the longer term missing here. Do you view it differently?
Actually, here, what I see from January 2016 highs is a free wave decline. So there is a chance that this is a 1-2 bullish setup.
Yeah, got it.
Normally, I see this corrective pullbacks completed and confirmed as completed when trend line is broken. So if we consider that this trend line is likely going to be broken, because on the 4-hour chart we have this impulsive recovery, which means it should move to the upside. Previously we had a free wave setback, which also suggests we should go above 131. So in such case, we would be already above that trend line, and also then we would probably have either here push into an extended wave free to the upside, or maybe a leading diagonal. But in both cases, there will be a 5-wave movement to a new highs. Okay, if I zoom this.
So you favor the upside in the longer term chart as well?
Yes, definitely.
Perfect. Thank you very much, mate. Dale is your guest here.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Grega, thank you very much. It's always nice having you with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Grega.
Thank you,
I know
Dale.
where to buy
Enjoy
gold
the
now.
interview, Dale.
I know when to buy my gold shares. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Okay, Dylan. Looking forward to hearing your voice. I'm making you the presenter, and if you want to share something on your screen, you can do that as well. Just passed you the baton in our relay race on Face.
Hello guys,
There it is.
do you hear me?
Yeah, Dylan, hi. Great to meet you.
Hey, thanks Dale for the invite and for this interview.
Okay, well, you know, I usually do a little due diligence on people, want to know a little bit about them, and I have been to your website. You're the co-founder of TraderHub.io, and I, read your bio. You traded everything before you went to Bitcoin. But I have a question for you, my trading warrior brother. You ready for it?
Sure.
Okay, your bio starts out, you go to college, you get, your degrees, I don't know if maybe a master's, and then all of a sudden you're trading prime clients' portfolios. Now, I was born at night, but not last night, my friend. And no one hands a graduate student their prime client portfolio until they've proven themselves in the market. So tell me what happened before you had that big gig and how you got involved in trading, and were you already looking at things and taking shots while you were still in school?
Sure. How much time do we have?
We have 20, a couple of days.
I'm gonna make it short from the beginning.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, you were exactly right. I pretty much traded everything there is in the market. I started in high school. I still remember it was like 3rd grade. I didn't have a driving license, so I asked my mom to drive me to the brokerage house to open an account. I put everything.
What grade is it? What grade?
It was like in 2nd or 3rd grade or high school.
Oh,
I was watching all the
second grade, not second grade, or you'd be in Ripley's Believe It or
second
Not.
year, yeah, second.
Okay,
yeah,
second year. All right.
Then I watched all the Wall Street movies and you know this popular stuff. So I knew what I want to become when I'm gonna be older, you know. So
Yeah.
basically, I went to the brokerage house. I opened an account. I asked the lady there, what should I buy? You know, I didn't have a clue what to buy back then. So the lady just proposed me some tickers. I said, okay, I'm gonna buy everything I have. I'm gonna put this aside. My mom said, oh, you're crazy. You're gonna lose everything, you know. Well, it was in the year 2003, 2002, and it was just behind the dot-com bubble crash. So
All right, so the markets had already bottomed, and
yeah, they bottomed. They started
wow,
rising. So
okay.
it was pretty easy. You know, I just bought, make like 3 or 4 times in like 2-3 years. It was pretty easy. Then I went to college, and for sure I signed finance. I started trading actively. And right after the college, I signed on the different brokerage house to manage big clients portfolio, high net individual, institutional clients. This was my target group. So I was managing their money from all over the world, really. We were covering all the markets, all the asset classes. And basically, I was doing that for 6-7 years. And
All right, I have a question on that part of your journey.
Yeah, tell me.
Tell me the difference in the emotions you feel trading your own money or trading other people's money.
For sure, there's a difference. Come on, I try to you know, being emotional in trading is not gonna do you any good. So, for sure, running other people's money is much easier than running your own. But me personally, I never saw money like, I don't know, some assets. So for me, it was not emotional. Really, trading was not emotional, and still isn't
Some people
emotional.
are the opposite, actually, Dylan, where some people are more emotional about their own other people's capital. Because you know then they have to explain, well, you know, the market zigged when I thought it would zag, and you know, that kind of thing. But interesting. Okay, so I kind of have an idea, and I can tell by the first chart you pull up that you've been like totally converted to kind of a crypto guy. How's it going on the dark side, buddy?
Dark side. Well, it's really a funny story. I wanted to continue it. Yeah, after I was managing other people's money. It was in the middle of the financial crisis, and after the financial crisis, I still insisted for 3 years. Then I had enough. At 30s, I said, okay, I have enough of the markets. I'm gonna do something else, and I took like 6 months off. I tried to figure out what I'm going to do. And in that 6 months, I started missing trading again. So I started trading commodities for professional commodities.
It's like being in the mafia in Hotel California. You could check out, but you can never leave. You're a lifer.
Exactly.
We've all tried to walk away. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I couldn't walk away. So I tried to trade something different. So that's why I signed to trade professionally oil and gas. Okay. It's good. It's going good for 4 years. And then the funny part of the story, when you were mentioning my degrees and diplomas, I signed 2 years ago. I signed an MBA degree in some other state. I was sitting in a classroom with some lawyer, my friend lawyer, and he was watching in my charts, and he was seeing my brand chart, and he was looking, and he said, "What do you have here, buddy?" I said, "I'm trading oil, you know." And he said, "Well, this is lame. You don't trade cryptos?" And I said, "What are cryptos, you know?" And he was like, "Well, you are not a cool guy." And I said, "Well, come on." And that was in 2016. So 2016, I didn't know really. Honestly, I didn't know much about cryptos, and it wasn't my interest because there was not enough volume. There was not much activity. You couldn't actively trade that. So basically, in 2017, when the volume picked up in the beginning of the year, I started crypto, and now I'm really into the market. Really, it's 100% crypto, so almost.
Okay, so interesting, and you know, it's interesting, you know, that people can trade crypto through the platform that you started and were a co-founder of. You know, my issue before we get to directionality on some of these cryptos is do people hold their money on deposit? You kind of play the role of broker.
Sorry, if
Do you play the role is Traders Hub.io a broker where people deposit funds with you and trade crypto?
No, basically the project behind that, it's not officially launched. It's in the stage of building. So the system is, as soon as I started trading cryptos, I noticed there's not proper trading platforms on the market, because platforms were made by geeks and developers. They were not made by traders, you know. And when I was opening accounts for trading cryptos, I was like really confused. There was no like, you know, simple green, red candles. They were like purple, yellow. The orders was really mixed. And it was really, really, for me, confusing to enter an order and just to manage, like, not actively, but like passively trade. It was impossible. That time, I gathered a team of traders and some IT guys, and I said, come on, guys, we have to do a station that's gonna be like perfect to use, you know, like from Forex. And we want to do like a platform used on this market, and we integrate it to the crypto. So this was the project behind. We are now in the second stage. We published a demo version, and hopefully end of the year, beginning of this year, we're gonna have the whole solution ready.
Okay, well, since you're not there yet, but you do trade crypto, where do you trade it, and where do you trade it, and do you feel comfortable leaving large sums of money wherever you're trading it?
Currently, I trade on 12 different exchanges. So from the biggest one, from Kraken, Bitfinex, Binance, I use them all, and it's really confused because you cannot have like aggregated portfolio view. So you have to put like manually inside of some app all your transactions, all your orders, and it's really confusing. This is one part that I want to solve with the Traders Hub. I want to aggregate all the orders. So basically, I'm trading on the all liquid exchanges because you need liquidity. And when you said, yeah, if I'm comfortable, let's say I'm comfortable keeping money on 12 different. I wouldn't leave it on one. So I spread the volume, and I feel much safer. But yeah, it's you still have like a feeling that something's gonna miss the next day, you know.
Yeah, you don't feel secure. You don't because you're not guaranteed by an exchange. Unregulated, most of them still, right?
Well, so, most of the assets are on regulated exchanges, so I feel safe.
Okay, all right. So we're looking at Bitcoin here. I recall up around the highs is when they before the highs, and I was thinking back then, although some people took the other side, that one of the reasons for the advance was I don't think there were people short selling Bitcoin. They may have sold for liquidation purposes. And then we had those futures contracts, and that did put in a high. When I heard they were going to do that, I figured there were guys in Chicago drooling, waiting for this contract to set up so they could test the market on the downside, which is what happened, right? So, so here we are. You know, I have that blue trend line that you have, Tillin. So, yeah, we're outside of the trend line. Trend lines, destinies they're meant to be broken. So I guess the question is this just a bounce in a bear market, or are you seeing something different that we could see the resumption of some type of bubble? Because I was taught, you know, normally once parabolic moves happen, and that was a pretty good parabolic move in all the cryptos, that it takes a long time for them to achieve those highs again.
Exactly. You're right on that. I think we're gonna get the Bitcoin issue in some books in our future for sure. It's by the book. It's a bubble crash, and now it's rising again. But before I go to the current stage, I just want to mention something. You mentioned futures. Exactly. When the futures came out, just like after November, December, the price was rising crazy, like from 12,000 to 14,000 and then to 1,600. I went out at 12,000. I said, guys, this is crazy. And all were bullish because the futures are coming. Yeah, the big guys are going to buy Bitcoin. I said, okay, this is not going to work out. Everybody is going to short sell. And the same thing happened in Tulip Mania. You remember Tulip Mania, the greatest bubble of all time?
I was only a kid then.
Yeah, I know. But you read it from the book, and it was the same. Find out the market crash. It was the same.
Yeah.
In December, I wrote also blogs on TradingView, and I publish ideas. In December, I targeted Bitcoin when it was 17,000. I said, guys, this is going to $6,000, and everybody in the blog was, yeah, no, you're crazy. We're going to 30,000.
Yeah.
And I have a picture here that I targeted 6,000. But why? Because the 6,000 level, if I tried to weekly, was basically the last red candle that we have before the parabolic rise. So this was basically my target, and you can see the pin of the candle.
Right.
It was stopped right at the 6,000. This was my initial target. I said, okay, 6,000 is pretty good target from here. The volume was the support was strong, and we're gonna get this bounce to the blue line, which happened. And the important level here is this one, holding the blue line. This is the higher, the second higher high from the lower low. So basically, before we're not gonna get over this one, we are not gonna get in some bull market. So that's why I'm really pretty cautious around here. This was actually by the book. Yeah, we bounced. We are now moving around. 10,000 is really like a psychological strong level, so it was normal to reverse, and now we are testing the lower level of 9,000. And now I'm like really cautious. For me personal, I think we're gonna go lower. I think I marked here important level of 6,600.
So you think we're going to attack the major uptrend line that supported the big break again?
Yeah.
Again. The question will be, what does it do there? Let's just assume it breaks down. What would that mean price discovery wise for Bitcoin if we broke down?
It's gonna crash like a stone to 4,000. That's for sure, because we don't have any major supports under that. Just like here around 5,000, this is some small number, but till 4,000 we don't have nothing. So I'm really like, if this doesn't hold at 6,600, which was pretty strong level for like 5 times already, I think it's gonna get much lower. But overall on cryptos, I'm still bullish on the market, even though the prices are far ahead of the market itself and market itself, but I'm still slightly bullish.
What about all these ICOs? To me, I know you weren't around in 2000. You talk about, well, maybe you were dating in high school, but this ICO market reminds me of .com going into the bubble in the year 2000. All you had to do was put .com after your name, and you got a valuation. Most of them went away, but a few strong hands survived and became major innovators and changed our world. Are you seeing the same thing here, that a lot of these ICOs and a lot of these cryptos are scammy, and how do you know the difference between an ICO that might be interesting and one that at the best could be a pump and dump?
Exactly. It's exactly the same story as it was in .com bubble. That's why in the last year when I started investing in ICO, I really had this in mind the whole time. And I can tell you, I invested in I think around 20, 30 ICOs, and I checked it probably only like 10 white papers, because I knew that there's a hype on the market, and the price is gonna rise, and it's crazy how much hard it was to get even invest to the ICO, because people were buying like crazy. And this is this hype mania. It was same as in .com bubble. Beside the scams that were on the market, people were trying to get the money without any project. There was also project with roadmaps and project that they're not doable in 100 years, not in 1 or 2 years. But people didn't care about that, and it's really dangerous for some newcomers to the market to invest in this kind of project, But they are really good projects on the market. They are already evolving in our market. They are already used in our economy, and they are really useful for speeding up the process and for everyday use we have. There
Do you
are a
have
lot of
names? Do you have names and charts for any of them?
I prepared some charts that I only do trades and on charts and ideas I present on the coins that I like fundamentally, because
Okay.
I know I was trading before on regular markets, traditional markets. I always tracked also fundamental side, not just technical side.
Okay.
That's why I also at the project I also check fundamentals.
So, and also is a big fundamental like it is in equities, especially things like mining shares and oil companies, really the management. So therefore in ICOs, it's, you know, the jockey, you know, I mean, who's riding the horse that really matters.
It is. It has to be a guy really with extensive knowledge in technology, like a visionary. It's like a farmer, you know, like Vitalik, who is like founder of Ethereum. You know, he's like really, when you listen to him at YouTube, you know that he's like 5 steps behind, in front of everybody, you know, in thinking. And it's crazy how he thinks and how he sees the markets. And when you check this and you're monitoring this, you get like a lot of him. So
yeah,
basically,
a much stronger recovery in Ethereum than Bitcoin. Is there a message in that?
Yeah, there is message. I think I thought in the last quarter of 2017 that we're gonna see the switch on the first places, and I think Ethereum is gonna overtake Bitcoin, and I think this is going on. If you check the Bitcoin dominance, it's now dropping. It's like 36%. It was low at 33%. I think we're gonna see the change on the upper 3 places, and I think that Ethereum is one of the coins that could overtake Bitcoin in some near futures.
Is that dominance? Is that dominance number about daily trading volume?
Yeah, this is daily. This is daily. This is the market
trading volume. It's showing you the percentage of daily trading volume across the crypto universe. And
yeah, it's percentage of total market cap. Yeah, daily.
Okay, got it. Okay, market cap. That's different than volume. All right.
Yeah, this is market cap, and the Bitcoin dominance is dropping, and we can see some other coins gaining, like altcoins and Ethereum and Ripple. They are gaining shares. I think they're sooner going to take some share from Bitcoin, and people are just searching for some other coin. And Ethereum is like 90% of the cryptocurrencies is run on Ethereum, and this is like really huge. It was really funny to see when the Ethereum was dropping like crazy, you know, but if there was no Ethereum, there's no cryptocurrency and ICOs, because everything runs on Ethereum. It's like 92% of the market is on Ethereum. So basically this was really one fundamental story behind it. I was also checking here, and I marked with the blue line. I marked the retracement here, and it pulled back really nicely. Now we are seeing some resistance area. I think we're gonna pull back a little bit, but I still see future growth of the Ethereum. And you mentioned before some smaller coins. I'm gonna show you some other stuff that I like. By trading, I usually check patterns. I like searching for patterns. I like searching for powerful moves. And IOTA is really one amazing project. Signed many partnerships behind it with Volkswagen and so on. And it's basically an Internet of Things project. IOTA is moving really nice in pattern. I also marked this before the breakout. I made I'm gonna show you. I made a chart before I break it out and I publish it. I noticed the same pattern that we had like in November, also in April. It was a nice clean breakout. I automate like a really nice from $1 to $2.
Looks like it's going to 10.
I like IOTA. I'm not gonna predict any price. I don't want to make it investment advice, but I'm holding to IOTA. I strongly believe in the team.
Because it looks like two drives. You know, it's kind of the way I look at things. So,
it is.
How about Litecoin? that hasn't recovered as well, has it? And what is the fundamental reason behind Litecoin? I remember when it first came out, and I was being sarcastic and skeptical, and I asked if Litecoin had less calories than Bitcoin.
Well, yeah, exactly. Litecoin is like just a little bit of faster version of Bitcoin, and that's like a silver of Bitcoin, So,
okay.
But
I like that metaphor.
Yeah, it's basically they just
it's poor man's Bitcoin.
Yeah, they just duplicated the same technology. They made 4 times more coins, and they said and 4 times faster. That's it. The transaction is 4 times faster than Bitcoin. Bitcoin is really old technology. The first one, the Litecoin, was a little bit improved. So basically, it's lagging all the time. Is lagging behind. And in cryptocurrency, the first indicator for rising price is popularity. And of course, because Bitcoin was the first, was always more popular than Litecoin, So Litecoin was always like lagging behind Bitcoin. But for me, personally, I have to admit, the first purchase I made was in Litecoin, because I knew, okay, come on, Bitcoin was like 1,000, Litecoin was like 30. Okay, the difference is too much, because if it's around 4 times faster, come on, it has to be like higher compared to Bitcoin, And it's but the end, it's all about popularity. But also, Litecoin has amazing stuff behind it.
So are these cryptos a lot like pink sheet stocks, where people go out and they do dog and pony shows and they promote their coins on video? It's all about creating a buzz. Creating a buzz. Okay, so they probably have like investor relations firms do that in equities. Are there companies that specialize in bringing in volume to these coins?
There is a lot of scams.
Like give them coins. You'll give them coins and hope that they generate some buying interest. Is that how they do it?
Yeah, they do. There's a lot of scam because the market is not regulated. It's really a wild west. When I did like my first workshop for new traders, I said, guys, be careful, because this is like Wild West. It's really a lot of scams. Just trade, keep the big names in the portfolio. Don't mess around with some small coins, because it's not regulated. Somebody who has like, I don't know, 100 Bitcoins can manipulate market whatever he wants. It's crazy. But if you know this stuff from traditional markets, and if you know that how to handle it, you can take it as advantage. But if you're like a newcomer, they're gonna eat your life. Really, it's crazy market.
Well, I liked this presentation you gave us today, Dylan. I'm glad I reached out to you on Twitter. You gave kind of a coin. I wasn't a crypto I wasn't aware of that looks like it could go higher. And if someone who would walk away from trading very liquid markets like oil and managing portfolios for people and you traded commodities and you were told you're not cool, and you're doing this and you're not going back, and it tells me that we should all be paying more attention to this space, because to me a chart is a chart is a chart. So there's something special to attract a trader like you to this asset class. So
there is.
Appreciate you being with us today.
Thanks, Dale, for the insights. Always welcome. Yes, I'm for the final words, if I may. Yes, I'm pretty sure that cryptocurrencies are here to stay. Good projects are going to change the way we communicate, the way we live, we trade. There are some good names out there, but you have to be careful on the market. Really, it's really not for some newcomers just to enter the market and try to learn how to trade. It is not proper, and you have to be careful about it.
Yes, definitely go small. Don't use leverage. Pay whole cash positions. And the worst scenario is, your portfolio loses 30-40% in value. Not that you'll have a margin call and be forced to liquidate all your capital. So glad to call you my trading warrior brother now.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks.
All right, Dylan. Everyone, you've heard Dylan, Saria, Keep an eye on his project. You're expecting your platform to be ready at the end of the year. Trader Hub IO, get on their email list, and he'll keep you in touch, because it sounds to me like Tillin's going to have a great platform because he is a trader. He knows what we need to function. So I'll be definitely keep in touch with me. Let me know when you launch. If there's anything I could do, just ping me, buddy.
Thanks, Dale. Thanks, Dale, for this.
All right, good hunting. I hope that, I don't know what they don't call them pips in crypto. What do they call it when you make money? What they call it?
Well, basically, they just say when moon and when Lambo. This is the only words they know. It's crazy.
All right. All right. Well, good hunting. I hope all of that rains on you, buddy. So thank you very much. And that's it for Turnaround Tuesday, everybody. And hope you're having a good day. What's the dollar doing? Dollar's still pushing. Okay, still believing it. Turnaround Tuesday. See you guys tomorrow. And remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Adios.
Bye.
Thank you, Dylan.